Hey everyone, I'm Rachel.
And I'm David.
Join us for a tour of the MSC World America.
Let's
Let's go!
go!
We're aboard MSC World America, MSC's new world-class ship launching from Miami. She carries about 6,700 guests at max capacity and is organized into several districts that often span multiple decks. They include World Galleria, World Promenade, Family Aventura, and MSC Yacht Club. We'll still go deck by deck from top down and call out a zone where it might help you find things. Deck 22 starts at the very top with the MSC Yacht Club Sun Deck and Pool, a private sun area with its own pool for guests who book the Yacht Club category of staterooms. The Yacht Club takes over the entire front of the ship from deck 22 down to 15, including their own restaurant, grill, lounge, and concierge. Since we didn't sail this category, we can't provide a lot of detail about the perks offered. Deck 20 is where the action begins for everyone else. In the Family Aventura zone at the aft, you'll find Harbor Bar and Bites for grab-and-go snacks and Harbor Family Park. The park includes the Lighthouse Playground for kids, water slides, a high ropes course, and World America's amusement-style rides. There is Jaw Drop at the Spiral, a slide that plummets you down 11 decks to deck 8, and the added cost Cliffhanger, the overwater swing that arcs out above the sea.
Midship on deck 20 is the MSC Gym. Across the hall from that is the box bar, which is connected to the Sportsplex court for basketball or pickleball. This is also where you will find bumper cars and roller skating at various times throughout the cruise.
Unlike most other cruise ships, there is no jogging track. At the forward of Deck 20 is Top 20 exclusive Solarium, which is a pool and hot tub area for guests in the Aurea stateroom category. Right below it on Deck 19, you'll find an enclosed deck with the Botanic Garden Bar, foosball, and ping pong. They overlook the Botanic Garden pool and hot tubs below, and the whole area is warm and humid like a real terrarium. There's an outdoor sun deck with a large hot tub on each side as you walk midship. Back inside in the aft of Deck 19 is where you'll find the designated kids space on board called Doremi Land after MSC's mascot.
They have separate hangouts for different ages, plus a Lego room and Hall of Games arcade, which is open to everyone. The VR gaming room and the added cost MSC Formula Racer round out the family area on your way towards the first of MSC World America's 2 buffets.
That's right. Due to the high guest capacity, this ship has 2 buffets. Though they serve mostly the same food, the La Brasserie buffet on Deck 19 is only open to everyone for breakfast and lunch and has a smaller selection. For dinner, it serves as a dedicated restaurant for yacht club guests. Il Mercato buffet on Deck 18 below it serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner for everyone. There are pastries and eggs in the morning, and pizza, salad, and sandwiches the rest of the day. Unlike many other cruise ship buffets, there are no made-to-order stations on board, which means their options are not quite as fresh as other ships we've been on.
At the aft of the ship on deck 18 is the Zen Zone. It is the adults only sun deck with its own bar and 2 small pools, one on each side of the ship. And if you go to the midship, this is where you will find the main pool on board the MSC World America.
Mar Azul, the largest pool on board, is flanked by deck chairs, some with shade, and its own bar. There are 2 other options in the pool deck area for food and beverage. La Perla Bar has drinks of all kinds and gelato for an upcharge, while La Boca Grill serves drinks, pre-made burgers, and pizza. The open deck is tiered and filled with deck chairs for sunbathing, as well as a couple of hidden hot tubs and a giant stage for deck parties. If indoor pools are more your thing, the Botanic Garden pool and hot tubs are the place to be. It rounds out the public spaces on Deck 18. One quirk of World America is that there aren't easily accessible stairways connecting some floors, including Deck 18 next to the buffet, so you'll have to rely on the smart elevators to go down from there. There is no Deck 17, and Decks 16 through 9 are filled with staterooms. Keep in mind that some balconies on board face inward to the World Promenade, while others face the sea, so pay special attention to stateroom categories when booking your cruise.
Deck 8 forward is dedicated to the MSC Hair Salon, Thermal Suites, and the spa. The Zen Juice Bar sits at the entrance and sells smoothies or healthy snacks for an added price. Moving midship, the center of the ship opens up to a big plaza lined with bars and shops. It's also called the World Galleria.
Le Dune restaurant is the main dining room assigned to Aurea guests only, and it's right across the hall from the Specialty Gin Project Bar and Lounge. Next door, Italy is an at-sea version of the popular Italian fare you can find on land for an added cost. The Loft is your home for adult-only comedy shows, dueling pianos, and live music every night. Nearby, two specialty bars are right across the hall from each other: Elixir Mixology Bar and Fizz Champagne Bar. Between them is one of the MSC Excursions desks, as well as the fine jewelry shop.
Through an elevator lobby on Deck 8, it opens up to the Promenade District. It is the heart of the ship, with the World Promenade and the storefronts lining an open area in the center of the ship. They host signature LED palm tree shows and entertainment throughout the promenade. Among the shops, you will find the exit of the Jaw Drop slide on this level.
The Coffee Emporium serves up specialty drinks at sea, and there are several shops nearby, including Luxury Accessories, World of Jewels, and Omega. Paxos Greek Taverna is an added cost restaurant that also has a to-go window in the promenade with cheaper a la carte options.
Promenade Bites has included snacks like popcorn and cotton candy. Next door, Sweet Temptations has an added cost shakes and desserts that are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Across the World Promenade, the All Star Sports Bar has paid a la carte food options, cocktails, and it is a great place to catch live sports.
The last area in World Promenade is the Wakeview Lanai, which is a great space to lounge in the sun or soak in promenade vibes with a killer view. Below it on Deck 7 is the Promenade Lounge, a two-deck indoor lounge with tiered seating, its own bar, and sweeping aft views. This is one of the best venues for production shows on board, but seating can be extremely limited. And then we reach the MSC Signature Casino. The main casino is smoke-free with a giant bar in the center. There's a small enclosed smoking section with slot machines off to one side, and the table games are off to the other. It's more open and comfortable than a lot of cruise ship casinos we've been in, with a good variety of games.
Midship on Deck 7 is the middle floor of the World Galleria. You will find the hub for photos and digital needs, as well as the Iris Art Gallery. The MSC brand shop sells cruise line merchandise right next door. Across the hall, there is a desk for MSC's charitable foundation if you wish to donate or learn more.
There are several added cost restaurants lining the World Galleria on Deck 7. Kaido Sushi Bar and Teppanyaki serve Japanese cuisine. Butcher's Cut serves steak and other meats, or you can get your Mexican fix at Ola Tacos and Cantina. Lastly, Masters of the Sea Pub is a traditional pub complete with live music nightly that connects via a spiral staircase to the Gin Project above. Time Valet is your place to buy a luxury Swiss watch on board. Deck 7 also has a gentleman's barber on your way toward the top level of the World Theater.
The World Theater is a traditional cruise ship theater that spans forward parts of Deck 6 and 7. It has a wide stage, complete with LED screens and tiered seating. That means you will likely have a good view no matter where you sit.
Tucked to one side of the theater exit on Deck 6 is the MSC Business Center with conference rooms you can reserve. This opens up into the bottom floor of the World Galleria, including MSC Luna Park. To one side is the included pizza and burger spot for late-night bites and retro arcade games.
To the other side is the Games Arcade for kids of all ages and the MSC Luna Park Arena. It is a two-level, flexible, techie show venue that spans decks 5 and 6 and hosts crafts, dance parties, and family events.
The MSC Future Cruise Desk is tucked to one side on the way towards the shopping gallery and nearby boutique. Jean-Philippe Chocolate and Cafe has specialty chocolates and ice cream for purchase, and there's plenty of seating around the World Galleria. Dolce Vita Bar serves this area and is your venue for late-night music, trivia, and games at sea. You can also find another MSC Excursions desk nearby the World Reception Guest Service Desk. This leads us to two of the MSC World America's main dining rooms.
There are 4 dining room options open to all guests spread across decks 6 and 5. They have various dining times but serve the same menus. You will be assigned a time and a dining room on your cruise card, but feel free to visit any maitre d' if you want to modify it.
The Hexagono, Hexagon, and Bubbles restaurants are on Deck 6 and are open for dinner. Hexagon also serves breakfast and brunch or lunch depending on the day, no reservation needed. La Folia restaurant has set dining and is the only main dining room on Deck 5. The only guest area on Deck 4 is the medical center.
That's the MSC World America from top to bottom.
Thank you all for joining us for our ship tour of the MSC World America. Now we are going to share some of our thoughts after being on the ship for about a week. This is the biggest ship we've ever been on by over 2,000 people. So that's not just like a little bit bigger, it's a lot bigger. But that being said, to me, it actually doesn't feel bigger, the ship itself. Yes, there are some outdoor spaces and places where there would normally be outdoor spaces, but just it doesn't seem longer. It doesn't really seem wider to me either. While they did do a good job of making sure people aren't bunched up in a lot of areas, it just feels kind of normal sized, if that makes any sense. I guess, how does it feel to you?
Yeah, I agree. Like, they tell me this ship is massive, but when I'm just walking around it, it really doesn't feel that crazy. So when we were going around filming for this video, I was worried because we had the huge list of places we had to get shots of, and it's a lot. Like, on paper, it looks like a lot. But when you're, like, physically in the space, it doesn't feel that big. And that's kind of surprising to me.
Well, and I do think part of that lends itself to the fact that there are a lot of spaces on the ship that are actually off limits to us.
That's true.
So that's one thing to really mention. There is a lot of space on the ship that is limited to Yacht Club level guests, as well as Aria level guests. So if you are not in one of those very specific stateroom categories, you can't access a good 2 to 3 floors at the front of the ship. But let's talk about the decor. So the ship is less than a year old at this point, and it feels it to me. It's very new, fresh, clean looking. Everything is very sleek. And every space kind of has its own unique vibe. There's, in the outdoor world promenade, and that looks very much like a very high-end mall.
It really does.
But even like the spaces within there all look different. Like the sports bar looks very different from the sweet shop and the jewelry stores and the Greek restaurant. So it's all really cool how they designed it. And inside, the spaces are equally as beautiful. And I think they used mirrors and just light colors very well to make even the inside spaces feel very open.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's actually, you mentioned the candy shop in particular, like just the theme of it actually is really, really cool. And it kind of carries over into the other spots, like the sports place having like autographed jerseys and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I will say, I do think that some of those spaces are actually kind of cramped.
Yeah.
So even though the theme is awesome, I could see on like sea days, those places being like unbearable for someone like me who doesn't want to be around a bunch of people at one time. And overall, I think I've kind of noticed that on this ship. So yes, the ship is massive, but it almost feels like all that real estate went to more rooms because the number of people, it's crazy, man. Like, you read it on paper and it looks like just a number, but when you're physically in the space where it doesn't feel like these rooms or like the bars and stuff aren't as big as you might see on some other ships, you start to feel it. When people are standing around to do trivia, for example, like, then you start realizing, oh man, a lot more people are coming to these activities. Even though it is spacious in a lot of ways, once you factor in the number of people, it feels really cramped to me in a lot of places.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've encountered that like when waiting for food, or just like at activities, you'll have to stand because there's nowhere to sit. And
we're early to activities.
Yeah, we're early to activities. And even the theater shows, which they have multiple, the one really good thing, and we'll talk about activities in a bit, they have multiple shows usually going on every night in different venues. But even then, you can make reservations ahead of time in the app. But if you don't get a reservation, you can show up 5 minutes early or before the show starts, and they might let you in. And every single seat is taken, every single show. And then people are also standing in the back. So it's very much like they knew there were going to be a lot of people, obviously, and they planned out all these different venues, but they didn't quite fully grasp how the flow of traffic was going to go or how many people were going to want to be in a certain place at a certain time versus this other place.
But that being said, I do think the spaces are gorgeous. I really do love like the main walking area. That's kind of their replacement for the piazza, essentially. I think that's really, really pretty. But again, it's people all over the place. Like when you're on a sea day or everyone just got back on the ship, it gets legitimately crazy.
So let's talk about activities. So we have been to theater shows, not theater, but also theater shows in a different venue. We've been to trivias and game shows, and they have a lot of different venues. It kind of ties into what we were just talking about. They have very small, intimate venues. They have a huge theater. They have another lounge called the Promenade Lounge, which is also huge in a theater style. So they did plan out a lot of different spaces for different groups of people to gather. And they have house bands, they have comedians, they have dueling pianos, which is really fun. And I will say the highlight for me has been the production staff, the Queen Symphonic show. And we also got a Cinesonic show, which they do songs from movies. And that cast is phenomenal.
It's ridiculous. Like, you guys think like, oh, I've seen pretty good cruise ship entertainment. These are higher than that. They're so talented, and they're singing songs everybody knows. We've had some disagreements in the past about what we thought was a good show versus a bad show. Here, I think we're completely on board with each other. It's so damn good. I'm telling you guys, you want to make those reservations, and that's would be like if we were doing an MSC tip video. Make that the first priority. Is get on the internet as soon as you can. Go get your room keys, get on the internet, and make your reservations, because we've had amazing seats for all those shows too, and part of that is because we had the reservation, and they will scan your card to make sure you have a reservation.
Yes.
So worth it. Ridiculously good.
And as far as the trivia and stuff, we had one that was, kind of lackluster, and then one that was really fun.
Yeah.
It really just depends on the cruise staff that you have. But the announcements are in 2 languages, so just something to keep in mind. We have been hearing every announcement in both English and Spanish.
I think MSC is one of the better cruise lines that accommodate different languages. I think they have waiters with what languages they speak on their name tags and stuff like that, so you can make sure you get a waiter that understands you and is able to help you out and stuff like that. So.
But also kind of about activities is something that's a little bit of a negative for me. Though the activities are great and the shows you can reserve at the beginning, any other activity is actually not going to be listed till the night before.
Oh yeah,
so they put like today's activities out last night. They'll put tomorrow's activities out tonight, and it's usually after dinner time, so 7-8 o'clock that they publish all of these. They are very much about the spontaneity, I feel like, on this cruise line, and that's just not my vibe. So just kind of keep that in mind. They did post activities on the app ahead of the cruise, but you're not able to bookmark anything. So when you get back on the cruise and you actually log into the Wi-Fi, that's when you can start bookmarking your activities, and they'll only show that days.
So the next big thing everyone probably wants to know about cruise ships is, how's the food? And I'm the food expert, so I will start. And I think that there's a lot happening with the food, and there's a lot of good things, and there's a lot of bad things. So I'll start. I think the most common place people are probably going to go to get food first thing they do when they get on board is they're going to go to the buffet.
Well, and we didn't have an option. That was the only place open for lunch.
That was literally the only place open for lunch. So that's also another thing to keep in mind. And so we went there, and the first day was nuts, obviously. The positives for me in the buffet is I actually do think it's like a really pretty buffet. I think like the seating area is actually pretty nice. The big windows are always clean, and there are people like actively walking around cleaning up after people. So I do really, really appreciate that. I think that's a big plus. Now, I don't really think the food's that great, just in the buffet. So I think they're making it fresh. You can watch them make it. There's a couple gems hidden in there. But the quality of like the beef is just okay. It's all right. We'd get pasta that looked like it was just made, and it's cold. Yeah. Very strange.
It's like kind of organized in a weird way. It's a giant like kind of rectangle. And they have like a bar in the middle. They also have just the giant open world promenade in the middle. So you have to kind of walk around to see everything that's available. And so while you're walking, your food's going to get cold because you're having to walk so far. And they have so many fresh fruits. Like they have whole plums and pears and apples and just like all kinds of fruit that you don't necessarily normally see. Different kinds of cherries. Yeah. So that's all been really good too. But yeah, overall, the buffet on the ship is definitely not my favorite. Yeah. I don't feel like it's unclean.
No, it's clean.
I just feel like the configuration is not great, and that makes it so that it's harder to find what you actually want.
And so one of the other included dining places would be pizza and burger place on board. And I think that food's actually awful, to be honest with you. It's almost inedible. The burgers are by far the worst I've ever had on a cruise ship. Most of the time you can't get them plain, so Rachel physically hasn't even eaten one yet. And they kind of just batch make them, wrap them up, and throw them out onto under a heat lamp.
I feel like it's like a gas station burger. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're wrapping up hot dogs and burgers and sliding them into like a little tray that you would grab like you were at a gas station.
I don't know how they can really fix it, because Rachel made a really, really good point when I first started complaining about this. I complained to her way more than I complained to you guys. She's a saint. But she mentioned there's 6,700 people on board. There's no way they're going to be able to cook them fresh. And I go, okay, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And now I do actually like they have like a thing of tortilla chips there, and like a vat of nacho cheese that actually looked like they were actually cleaning it and like replacing it fairly often. So I'll give them some props for that. And the chips were a little stale, but I didn't really mind that too much. It was okay. And they were obviously swapping out the french fries.
And they even have some desserts there. So like they do have, you can get a full meal out of it. Plus they have pizza.
So that place, I'm pretty much on my avoid list, but They do have the best soft serve.
They do have the best soft serve. I think the highlight of the included dining would be the main dining room.
Yes, in my opinion.
So they do have multiple main dining rooms, and the way the dining works on this ship is basically they assign you a dining time and a table and a place, and we have the same waiter every night. And the menu it's kind of like other cruise lines. They have the same, 5 or 6 items, both starters, entrees, and desserts, but then they switch 4 or 5 items out every single night in each of those sections. So it's been really nice. They actually have kind of themes. Like last night was Caribbean themed. I think tonight is Italian themed.
Yeah, that seafood night one night.
Yeah, so it makes it a little easier to plan. Plus, they put all of their menus in the app for the whole week on the first day. Gold star for you, because I like to be able to say, oh, there's nothing on that menu I want. That maybe a night you try to plan a specialty dinner or something like that. I like that they actually give us.
Yeah, it gives you the actual time to get your specialty dinner in place, because those reservations run out too.
Yeah.
So knowing ahead of time, hey, I know we ain't going to the main dining room on that night. Let's see if we can go get a reservation at the steakhouse or something. Actually, pretty nice. That is a good point. I think that the food in the main dining room is actually fantastic. I got a salmon on the first day, and it had a little nice crispy skin on it, and it was absolutely delicious. Everything has been cooked perfectly, in my opinion, and I think that they really do a really, really good job of seasoning it. Outside of needing a little bit of salt here or there, I haven't had to really do that much to it. So I've just really, really enjoyed the main dining room.
The whole day we're like just waiting for the dining room to open so we can go get our food, because the other places that are options for us are not really that good.
Like, I really am impressed, because leading into it, I had almost no expectations because the buffet had been so bad. So I don't know what it is. I really, really like it, and maybe part of it's the atmosphere and part of it's our server and everything. But all put together, one of my favorite main dining rooms, maybe by far.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into, normally we don't do a lot of specialty dining because, we're already paying for the cruise. You like to kind of get what you're paid for, but honestly, the food was so bad a couple times. We were like, we were just going to pay for something. Plus, we actually do get a free specialty dining with our status with MSC. So we ended up trying the taco place, and we ended up trying the steakhouse. And I will say both were phenomenal.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I really do like the aesthetic of both places. So I don't know. I don't think I could say enough nice things about the added cost things. I do think it is a little hinky that added cost things exist on cruise ship, but if we're living in that world, I would say if you're considering it, I don't think you're going to be disappointed in either of those places. All right, and the last thing I really, really want to complain about with you guys, and it doesn't really relate to everybody out there, but I need to complain about the Wi-Fi and the internet package on board. But the first thing I want to complain about is the ability to switch which device you have on internet. So historically, with other cruise lines, you pay for a cruise ship package, Wi-Fi package, and the number of devices is what you pay for. And you just swap your devices in and out, but you can only have, a maximum of 4 or 3 or whatever connected at one point. Here, once you connect the device to your internet package, that's it. That device is the only one that can be on it. It can never be swapped out for another device. You're stuck. That's the device you have internet on now for the rest of the trip. And then once you do get your device connected, it's just pretty bad internet overall. Now, the first time we got connected, I realized I was getting disconnected and I had to forget the network and connect back to it. And then I could do things for a little bit and then I'd get disconnected again. I had to reconnect and do the whole thing over and over again. I've made some tweaks to the thing. I changed it so it wasn't using certain settings and blocking 5G internet and stuff like that. And once I did that, the connection's been pretty stable. It's just still slow, which you kind of expect from a cruise ship. And
we have the browse and stream. So we have the highest tier of Wi-Fi, and it's still very, very slow. Like, I am having issues doing any work calls, even with my camera off. Just being able to talk and have them hear me clearly is a struggle. So let's get into our final thoughts about MSC World America. This is just so unlike any other ship we've ever been on. One, it has this big open space in the center. And two, it's just so much bigger. Over 2,000 more people than a ship we've ever been on before. And I will say, after being on the ship, I'm not sure that the bigger ships are for me.
Yeah.
I would much rather have a smaller, more intimate experience. And yes, I love how new it is. And I love kind of all like the fun little decor and parties and all the little things that they can do because they have so many different themed spaces. But it doesn't feel very cohesive. And I just overall would rather have some of these smaller touches that make me feel like a more valued guest than be in this massive space with a sea of other people.
Yeah, I think once you start being around the other people, it doesn't feel that massive of a ship. So it loses that appeal to me.
it can't possibly be that big because it just doesn't feel it. I don't feel it anywhere outside of like the promenades areas. So I don't know. To me, it's okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad
It's
ship.
not bad. It's not.
I just think, for my personal taste, it's not for me.
Yeah.
If you have a family and you want to go on this ship, I think it's a great ship for a family. Because
That's what surprised me about it, honestly. It feels like a great family ship, and I didn't really know that about MSC. But again, I do not feel like this ship really caters 6,000 people that well. But I do think the aesthetic is gorgeous. I think the outside of it's really, really pretty. I thought the terminal where you embark onto this ship is absolutely gorgeous. Now, granted, the ship won't always be at that terminal, but worth mentioning. I do think MSC staff has been fantastic on here. I really genuinely love these people. I think they were actually really, really sweet.
But what do you think? Have you sailed on the MSC World America? Are we completely wrong about some of these things? Let us know what you think, because we would love to know, did we do it wrong?
Yeah.
Or did we miss something that you really found awesome on the ship? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more travel content from us, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. But for now, I'm Rachel.
And I'm David.
And we hope this video helps you find the right direction for your next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.